Yeah, I mean, from what we see right now, I mean, May looks like a very good month for TSMC in particular. The industry is actually doing pretty well. We have Apple has even had to cut back, as far as we could tell, some of its supply of its MacBook processors. The new M2 processors do it on 5 nanometer in order to get it out, and there's a big ramp up of the 3 nanometer M2 Pro processor that's coming out in the second half of this year. So I think that there's a lot going on that's getting ramped up right now that TSMC can be charging for. So we're expecting May, June, July to actually be some very good months for TSMC.
Eric, 2 questions about TSMC. Does TSMC still command the pricing power in this environment, because it's been such a go-to beneficiary of the supply chain issues and inflation? And how closely are you watching the geopolitics of the region as it pertains to Taiwan and as it pertains to TSMC?
Well, so the first question is an easier political question to take. As far as what we're looking at is pricing power, we see that TSMC actually has really tremendous pricing power over its customers. Even their top customer, Apple, couldn't even get their newest M2 processor out on the 3 nanometer process. It just wasn't capable of it. They're going to be rolling it out in the second half of the year, but Apple had to kind of go to market with the 5 nanometer process, and that's already seeing price increases. Again, TSMC, I think, raised pricing roughly 9% this last quarter. And so we're seeing this across the board. We're seeing this at NVIDIA. We're seeing this at Xilinx. We're seeing this at AMD. So TSMC has some very tremendous pricing power. They're really the only ones that can offer these very advanced nodes. They're way ahead of Intel. They're ahead of Samsung. They're ahead of Global Foundries. TSMC is the only place to get these things. So they have great pricing power. As far as the geopolitics, I think that China, an economist out of China made the comment that China should just take TSMC and prevent TSMC from transferring technology to the U.S. I think that the Chinese have figured out that TSMC is really a linchpin for U.S. technology companies, and I fear a little bit that the U.S. politicians haven't really quite figured this out, that how important TSMC is. So, TSMC, Taiwan has been a good friend to the West, and we're looking forward to continuing relationships here. But there is, unfortunately, a geopolitical risk with having all of its fabs in Taiwan, even though that's better for margins for TSMC. They really need to start spreading those out in the region more, in the U.S., maybe in Europe, definitely in Japan, and we're hoping to see that risk disperse a little bit as TSMC broadens its geographical reach.